you knows, we actually run a very successful company up in Richmond Hill. But the only reason we came down here was to give people in the community the opportunity to know a little bit more about us who may not able to make it into Richmond Hill. However, every now and then the lightning flash and a thunderbolt and we're struck in the very right way. And I'm very fortunate to, like I said, we're going to have people coming in, so just bear with it and everything. Anytime anyone come in later than this, we're going to tell them that they owe us about $10 each. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. You're going to have a lot of fun. Purposely, like I said, my name is Errol, and welcome if you're a friend of Global World Trade. Welcome if you're a friend of somebody here. Welcome if you know nobody here. Welcome. Okay. But one thing I would like to say about this gentleman here, again, I call it a fluke. This gentleman, and I told everybody who I spoke to that this gentleman should have been somewhere else speaking. I'm just so honored that he took the opportunity to say he will come down here in Toronto. The gentleman definitely is from Taiwan. So when I heard about Taiwan, to me, that's a long trip and everything. So the minute he arrived from Taiwan, I wanted to get him down in Toronto. His schedule is extremely busy, Rene Leal. I walk around these days because I do not know too many people are millionaire. I do, but then they won't let me see them. Okay, that's a funny thing. They hide somewhere that I can't see them. All I know, they pass me down the highway and everything. I'm very fortunate to say I know a few, and those in whom I know, such as Rene Leal, is not a gentleman who's stuck up. The gentleman owned more than what I would like to know that I have, in the sense of what he walks away from just to be a part of our company, is probably what most people in their lifetime want to achieve. When I said that in $80,000 annual income, Rene would call it just a drop in the bucket. I'm very honored, though, that tonight Rene took the opportunity to come down to Toronto, not only just to be here to talk to you about how to set up and run a successful business, but also how to utilize taxes for your purpose. And this is where I'm going to be perfectly frank. I know nothing about tax, okay? And that's the weakest part in my blood vessel. When it come on the tax, oh my God, I do not know nothing. So when I heard Rene said that's his expert and he brought this accountant in and everything, oh my God, the jump that I jump. And I believe that every person here tonight, and we're going to schedule Rene to come back again and everything, many things going on in the city. We're going to schedule him to come back. Rene, we will definitely, because 99% of the people knows nothing about income tax. Agree or disagree? Okay, absolutely. They knows the basic, but they knows nothing. And what Rene have done through his accountant, and what Rene have done on his own, by the way, as a business owner, as a businessman, most people would like to do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so honored just to bring this gentleman to the stage and turn over everything in his hand, where he's going to let me know some things about some taxes. My good friend, Rene Leal.
Thank you very much.
Welcome,
thank you
so much. Thank you.
Well, thank you. How's everyone tonight? Good?
Yeah.
Yes? Had a great day at work today? No, not so good? Yeah? Was your manager bad to you today? Well, I had a really long day today. Really long day, because usually I'm up about 10:30 a.m. So when I usually wake up. And but recently, my two sons, I enrolled into private schools, and they start about 8:30 mornings. And they actually, I live about Eglinton and BP, but their schools are up on Elgin Mills and sort of like Leslie. So, I mean, the last few weeks I've been waking up at 7:30 in the morning. Very unusual for me to drum out to private schools as well too. And then actually I'm going to be going back to Taiwan and Thailand in end of January. And my younger son had to get his passport done. So from Elgin Mills and Leslie, I drove back down to Scarborough Town Center, get his passport done, and that took about an hour and a half of just baby fussing around, crying, at the government building. From there, went back home, was absolutely exhausted, about 1 p.m. then, just absolutely exhausted. Took a nap for about two and a half hours, so I got recharged here. Woke up, back up to Elgin Mills, picked up my son again, and back down again to my house, and got kind of hungry, had dinner, and now I'm here. So, I've had a really long day. Not too bad, I guess, right? But for me, it's quite a long day. But actually, tonight is a very, very interesting situation, because we do have, of course, you people here live with me, in front of me. We also have people live on the webinar on my computer system here. So, usually I'm just kind of standing and talking, but because I have to be close to the computer here, I'll be sitting down, enjoying my coffee, legs crossed, kind of sitting back, relaxing, doing the actual presentation from the chair. Is that good with you guys? It's all good? Okay, good stuff. So, let me just take some quick questions here. Hopefully nothing is okay. Recording is actually already being done. So, a lot of times, when I first started off in business, at the age of 22, I read a lot of financial books, and one thing that I realized was that, the whole saying with the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. I was always wondering, well, why is that? That why did the rich keep getting richer? And there's many different reasons why, of course. But one of the things that actually stuck out in this book I was reading was that the rich people, sorry, um, had better ways of managing their money. And no, I'm not using the word hiding the money because that's actually illegal in Canada, and you will of course probably go to jail for hiding your money in the backyard under the doghouse, right? So, but managing your money, and so I've learned many different ways to be very effective with your money since then. And so, and today, of course, I want to always do this sort of presentation on taxes. And to get started, though, a quick introduction on who I am. Of course, Errol did a great job. Thank you very much for that as well too. Errol actually, this gentleman here, I met him. I don't know how long ago, almost 4 years ago. And actually, I learned a lot from Errol because he's a hardcore business guy. I've seen him in action on the streets, and you can learn a lot from just being around Errol. So make sure you get the time to be around him as well too. But for myself, basically was a programmer for TELUS for about 5 years. Before that, 2 years as a programmer for IBM. I was making good money, like Errol said, about 80 grand a month. Sorry, 80 grand a year. Yeah, sorry, yeah. What TELUS pays that much? No. Yeah. 80 grand a year. Free cell phone or free shoe benefits, eye benefits, that kind of good stuff as well too. We had 36 days a year as well too, which was pretty cool. And before that, I was actually an instructor for a programming school as well too. Had many of my own businesses before. So I've done things from having my own catering business when I was very young to my own travel business, my own sort of health and wellness business that we've all probably done before in the past, right? Right. Of course, my own real estate business I did very well. So I have a lot of properties in Alberta as well as at Hamilton as well too. And of course, my GWT business as well. So I've learned many different things through my lifetime. I'm only 32 years old. I'm not that old, right? But in my lifetime of how to manage my taxes, and so that's who I am. And because I'm not a certified accountant, I did want to make sure that I did have my own accountant that I found. I have gone through many accountants, and for myself, Ron Kajira, who's actually sitting in the back there. Everyone say hi to Ron. Yeah. Thanks for coming out, Ron. Yeah, thanks for coming out. He's been an absolute blessing in my life. I almost want to kiss his feet because he just knows how I work, and he seems to know how to manage and take care of my whole entire portfolio of everything under my roof, and he's very good at what he does. And I like an accountant who's very precise, who's very accurate, who doesn't miss a thing. And in my last 4 years of working with him now, he's done so well. I actually did get a random audit in '09, which of course when that happened this year, I was actually in Taiwan when I got the letter for a random audit, and of course Ron was able to assist me and be my accountant and basically handle the whole situation without me having to make a phone call to the CRA. So all accountants, there's many accountants in the world. We all know that. Of course, don't think that the highest paid accountants are the best ones, nor are the lowest paid accountants the worst ones. You have to find the one that works best for your situation. And I found that for Ron, he just is really good at what he does. So there's his information. I will have him, I guess, if you want to get his business card later on after I've done this presentation, go ahead and talk to him as well too. His phone number is there. If you want to give him a call afterwards, please go ahead too. But that's who we are. So I have to read this out because, again, it's a tax disclaimer. We have to make sure that I read this out because I'm not a certified accountant. But taxation is a complex subject, and we do not claim that the tax information in this training is error-free. It is your own risk, and you will have full responsibility resulting from the use of this general tax information. I am not intended to provide professional tax advice, investment, consulting, or other professional accounting, legal, or tax services. I am not a trained accountant, and the tax information in this PowerPoint should not be regarded as offering complete and detailed explanation of the taxation. Before taking any action which can affect your business or personal finance, you should consult a professional and qualified tax advisor. We cannot, or I cannot, be held responsible for risk taken or for any loss due to use of any tax advice in this page or presentation. The numbers in this example are not tailored to anyone's individual situation, and proper record keeping is required for you to make any expense claims for your business. Okay. Now to get that out of the way. Okay. So First question is, why are you here? Anyone? Why are you guys here?
To save money.
To save money. Okay, that's pretty funny. To make money. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Any other things here?
To learn.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. To save money and make money. And if by today, by golly, I cannot teach you how to save money or make money, I'll buy you a nice Starbucks latte. Sound good? Oh, okay. That's my promise to all you guys in the room tonight. Okay. People on the webinar, you don't count. Sorry about that. Okay. So here you go. So why are you guys here? Question, well, is who here feels that they pay too much in taxes? Okay. Anyone feel that they don't pay enough in taxes? Okay, no one's hands went up, right? Okay, very good. Okay, and of course, who here likes paying taxes? Right. So again, most people don't like paying taxes. However, are you aware of the taxes that you pay in Canada? I mean, there are oh so many, not just your income tax, but there's lots. And are you aware of even a fraction of what you're paying in taxes? And if you don't know, then today I'm glad that you're all here today as well too. So, okay. So again, I have a lot of references to things because again, I want you guys to get really accurate information here. And by the way, all the links that I have in this PowerPoint are already on my website. So all you need is one link to our GWT.com. Okay. So you have to copy down the HTTP colon double slash. Don't worry about that. Go to our GWT.com. Okay. On the left banner, there's a whole bunch of different links there. Look for the tax information. You will find all my links and examples already loaded on that page. Sound good? Okay. Preparation is key, yes? Okay. So I'm going to quickly break and go into this page here really quickly. So one quick second here while I grab this. There we go. And to give you a bit of an idea, taxation in Canada. Makes sense, right, guys? Can you guys see this? And I want to read you guys a quick few things here to kind of give you guys a bit more information on taxes here. So one of the most, popular taxes, and the arrow will go and actually sort of turn on the lights here for us to get more better of a viewing here, is personal income taxes. Let me just quickly zoom this a bit more here. There we go. So one tax you pay for sure is your personal income tax. And both the federal and provincial governments have imposed income taxes on individuals. And these are the most significant sources of revenue for those levels of government, accounting for over 40% of tax revenue. Hey, no worries about that. So of all of the tax collected, 40% comes from your personal income taxes, right? Okay. And aside from that, there's also corporate taxes if you have, for example, a corporation. There's also, of course, sales taxes here, right? So what you buy, what you eat, it's a tax, right? And of course, depending on which province you are, you will have more in certain places, less in some. Alberta is only 5%, I believe, which is correct. Total tax is 5%, whereas in Ontario, you're paying 13%, combination, of course, of your, it's HST today, right? What other kind of taxes do we have? Property tax, right? It's a tax, right? It's going back to the government, of course. And so, again, there's actually two types of property taxes. The first one is the annual tax on your property, so your annual property taxes. That's one tax. And the other tax we pay for property taxes is when you actually have a buy or sell, the land transfer tax. Another tax we pay, again, on property taxes, right? Are there more? Of course. This one here shocked me. Excise or excise taxes, whatever how you pronounce that thing. Look at this. Both the federal and provincial governments impose these taxes on inelastic goods such as cigarettes, gasoline, alcohol, and for vehicle air conditioners. So a great bulk of retail price of cigarettes and alcohol are these taxes here. And even the vehicle air conditioner tax is currently at $100. So when you have a new vehicle, the air conditioner has a tax. Yeah, can you believe that, right? It's $100 per unit. And look at this. Canada has some of the highest rates of taxes on cigarettes and alcohol in the world, right? And so, anyone here like to smoke? Not me. Like to drink? Well, I do. Darn, right? And these are sometimes referred to as sin taxes. And it's really fun because it says here, it is generally accepted that higher prices defer consumption of these items. So they're saying that because uh, they'll have higher taxes on alcohol and tobacco to help you deter the need to want to purchase these things. Now, yeah, right. Come on, I mean, really, it should say really. We know that people who love to smoke can't stop smoking. Let's charge them a higher tax instead, right? People who love to drink can't stop drinking. Let's charge them a higher tax as well, right? So, again, top of that, payroll taxes, health and prescription insurance tax, estate tax. Did you know that when you actually, when one of your loved ones move on to, to wherever they're going off to, when they pass away, that there's actually estate taxes. And if you don't have a proper will set up, and have all that for example an attorney set up and the power of attorney executor all prepared for you guys, that a lot of that will be paid back more in taxes as well too. So you want to have a good understanding of all the taxes you're actually paying. So and not only that, going back to my PowerPoint though, is what about fees and licenses, right? Where do fees go to and licenses go to? All the costs. It goes back up to the well, essentially, yeah, exactly, right? So what are some examples here, right? Hunting license. I don't get why you have to pay for a license for hunting, but you do, and that money goes back to the, yeah. What else is there? Fishing license, right? I love to fish. Well, I used to love to fish. No, I don't because you have to pay a fee for fishing. Even for snow fishing, like when you dig a hole in the ice and you drill the hole to the ice and you go fishing, yeah, ice fishing. Another fee for that. It's incredible, right? This one here, driver license fees, right? So people seem to be okay with fees and licenses, but to me, I know where the money is going to. So, I'm trying to make you more angry about all these fees. You're already angry already. Yeah. Um, sorry for the water, because Taiwan is very, very humid. Here is very dry, so I'm constantly drinking a lot of water and going to the washroom like nonstop. But what else here? Renewing your license plate fees. Why is there a fee in your license plate? I don't get that, but there is, right? So the question is, how much exactly do you pay in taxes then? All right, and in terms of your personal income tax as well. Well, looking at the income tax rates in Canada for 2012, okay, again, this link is available on my website. All right, but let's look very quickly here. Here we are, back to the CIA website here. You can see here that it's really by a tiered amount, okay? And I'm going to kind of skip down to, for example, on Ontario here, because there's basically a provincial, and there's also going to be a federal, right? So usually, depending on the level you are, you actually look here and kind of calculate, based on the first, 15% on the first $42,000 of income. So if you're making around, between $30,000 to $80,000 of income a year, I would say on average your tax you're paying are anywhere from about 20% to about 30%. And again, you can talk to Ron about that. He's actually the certified accountant here for more information. But that's how much you're actually going to be paying in taxes for all 12. And of course, it does change every year by a few percentages or a few dollars here and there. But this information is available for you to look at again online. But the easier way of finding out how much you pay in taxes is to look at your what? Look at your pay stub, right? And too often we don't look at it. We just rip off the check and we just go deposit the check, right? Or yeah, exactly, right? But look at your total income and what's the percentage of what you're paying taxes, right? But also EI, right? CPP, right? All these things you're paying for are going somewhere, right? So, and question for you guys is, would you like to learn the benefits of having a home-based business in relation to tax deductions? Right? Anyone not want to have this at all? Anyone here no? No one. Okay, so everyone wants to have the benefits. Right? Okay, very good. And by Sandy Botkins, the CPA, tax attorney, and former IRS general counsel, he says every North American taxpayer who has a full-time job. So who here has a full-time job? Raise your hands. Okay, everyone has a full-time job here, pretty much, right? Okay, and does not have a home-based business is probably overpaying taxes to the tune of $3,000 to $9,000 every year. So what's that saying to you is that if you have a full-time job, you don't have a side business, then you are overpaying $3,000 to $9,000 of taxes. And the way I like to put it is it easier in your job this year to get a raise of $3,000 to $9,000 a year? Is it easy to get a raise in your job? $3,000 to $9,000 a year of a raise? It's hard, right? I mean, how much, butt kissing do you have to do to your manager, to get that raise, right? If you're lucky, right? How many hours of overtime do you have to work? Is it worth working that overtime to get that extra salary? Is it? At Thales as a programmer, my manager was making probably about 20K more than I was as a manager at Thales, right? But he was working about a good 5 hours more every day. So to me, I was looking at my Thales programming, job, and I was like, well, do I want to try to strive and aim to be like my manager or the director? And I was looking at the hours of overtime he was working and all the stress he was bringing on. Would you guys choose that if you had a choice? Probably not, right? Because he makes 20 grand more, but he gets taxed even more at that higher income. So at the end of the day, what he's bringing home with all the new stresses, all the new hours of overtime, it's not really worth it in some ways, right? So in other words, if it's that hard to get that extra raise of $3,000 to $9,000 a year, isn't it easier to just have a nice home-based business? Right? Makes sense, right, guys? Okay. So if you want to read more, of course, on tax relief on home-based business here, if you click on this link over here again, this article here was actually done by Sandy Botkins, and I love the way he breaks down understanding tax deductions in a business, because if you actually look at it here, he's very detailed. Because the example I just gave you is very similar to what he says here. For example, Mrs. Quinn, example, assume a man that was earning 40 grand a year, okay, his wife wasn't working. They had, basically Lori got another job that made 50 grand a year. You would think that it would improve their financial situation, right? Extra job, more money. However, Lori now has to pay federal and state taxes on her new income. Since they filed jointly, the family's combined income was established that they got to the higher tax bracket, which means more taxes paying for the higher tax bracket. Lori had Social Security, which held from a paycheck the rate of, whatever percentage here. They had to commute to work, more gasoline, more cost to get to work here. They had to pay for childcare because now both parents are working. The child had to get childcare. They pay for childcare now. So at the end of the day, when you look at someone adding an extra job, but trying to figure out all the extra daycares and traveling and commuting and extra time and away from the family, it's not even going to be more worth it in the end, because you end up getting more stress, more headaches for the same amount of money here. So I like the way he breaks it down here. And look at this side here. If you don't have a home-based business, look at this. No wonder more and more people are starting a home-based business. In fact, there are currently an estimated 30 million people working from their homes. I can probably guarantee the number one reason why is because of the tax benefits, right? Exactly. Okay. And having a home-based business versus, for example, a real business, most businesses in the first 2.5 years go down, belly up, right? Home-based business here will actually succeed within the first year. And so, this document is a really great one to read as well too. And again, more stats here from Sandy Botkins here. Great document to read. Again, the link is on my website. That's Sandy Botkins here. Very well-known guy here, and so he has a lot of books, a lot of journals. Be featured on a lot of big talk shows as well too for his helping on what he teaches people in terms of the tax benefits here. All right. So now that you have, assuming a business, a home-based business, to help you get these additional tax deductions, right? You have to understand, well, what are the list of expenses you can now expense, okay? And what's the rule on what you can deduct? Again, if you want to learn more about the rules here, again, this link over here, back to the CRA website, talks about business expenses, okay? And here's the list of all the expenses you can deduct by having yourself a home-based business. And there's a lot, okay? Because even within advertising, there's a whole bunch of subsections, within business startup costs, right? And what I've done here actually is to kind of show you guys. The ones I clicked here, the different colors, are the ones that can actually apply if you have this GWT home-based business. All right, so all these deductions here from business taxes, business use of home, current or capital expenses, fuel costs, insurance, interest, maintenance and repairs, management and admin fees, motor vehicle expenses, office expenses, prepaid expenses. If you have property taxes, rent, salaries, wages, benefits, supplies, telephone, utilities, travel, and other expenses. So pretty much everything here, if you have a GWT home-based business, because we are an international global business, you will have these additional expenses you can now claim towards your business. All right. So yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah.
You mentioned with the meal.
Yes. Yeah. So very good question. So we had a question here for the folks on the webinar. Someone asked about knowing more about the meals and entertainment expenses, and basically, again, I can have Ron if you want to clarify me afterwards if I'm at all incorrect, but I'm pretty good at this. For meals and entertainment, basically, if you were to take out a client to show them more about your company, whether it's showing them a lookbook, talking about their interest in jewelry, fashion handbags, anything related at all to the business, if the purpose of you having a coffee with them was for that, then, for example, if you bought 2 coffees and the bill was $6 from Tim Hortons, then for all meals entertainment expenses, half of that receipt, the amount can be expensed. Half, yeah, 50%, because you had 1 coffee, they had 1 coffee. So it doesn't matter, if you bought 1 coffee for that person and only 1 coffee, it's the half of the actual amount on the meal entertainment expense. And we cover a bit later on how to properly track your expenses, because for example, who here today, from morning till now, had bought something like a coffee outside or bought a lunch, right? We all did, right? And so what you should be doing is, if you have this business now, on the back of it, write down, GWT, write down who was there. So it was Renee and David, and what was the purpose of that meeting. So so try to be more detailed, because you have to be able to provide at any point in time up to 7 years ago, or even longer nowadays, if you get audited, to be able to prove exactly what you did in that particular meeting for that deduction. Okay, so if you write down who, what, where, when, right? You'll cover all those things, right? So me, David, GWT, training for the business, introducing David to the business, prospecting David, like and trust with David, all those things count towards doing the business here. Okay, and so very good question here, and let's go to quickly here. Okay, so we have a question coming in here. Maybe I'll handle the questions on the webinar a bit later on. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. You know I like my coffee. All right. So back to this. So yes. Yeah. So exactly. So again, coffees are, again, if you're doing, me driving down here, for example, today in my vehicle, which I lease, that counts. The gas I pay to get here counts, right? If I, so all those stuff you can now track by having a business. So the question is how to track your expenses, right? That's the question here. And so, general rule, keep everything. Do not throw away any of your receipts, because you have to be able to prove to the government or to an auditor all the details of whatever you're writing off. Okay, so keep everything. So, hello, keep all receipts. Please, grab a seat. Keep all receipts. Keep all invoices, bills, everything. Okay, and write down as much information you can on each of those receipts as possible. Okay, and be detailed. Okay, because the more clarity you can give in case an audit does happen to you, the better it'll go for you. Okay, and in business, you can never expect to never get an audit. Agreed? Right? If you're doing this for the next 20, 30 years, and every single year they audit a third of the population by random audit, right? You can't expect to never get an audit. So even without a business, you will get an audit. So just expect to get audited at some point in the future. So again, you want to be prepared in case that happens. Make sense? Yes? Okay. Again, write down who, what, when, why, okay, and where. And usually on the receipt, what happens is that sometimes the receipts that they print out on, the ink sometimes fades on you, right? So what I always do myself is that I always circle the amount. I actually write the amount again. So if it's 45.39, I'll get a pen and write 45.39 again on the receipt, as well as the date of that transaction, and also the vendor name. So on all my receipts, I don't just write down GWT, who is there, what we talked about. I also write down the actual amount and the date of that transaction in case it fades over time. All right. Now, to track your expenses, there's online tools. There's a lot of great tools online nowadays. You can go get these free programs. One of my friends actually worked for a company that does it for free. My only concern with these free companies is that if one day they have a lot of customers and they want to start charging you a few bucks for the service, then you might have to start paying, and you've already gotten used to using their free service. Whereas really, all you have to have is a very simple spreadsheet to track your stuff, and I can give one to you for free today as a gift, if you want to call it that, for being here tonight. All right. Simple spreadsheets, and I do have one to show you guys later today. And again, it's already available for download on my website. Okay. The iPhone and the Android apps, they have great apps built into your phone. So you actually punch in again, every receipt that you have to track all your receipts. But again, keep all the originals. All right. Whenever you can get, don't just count on your credit card statements, because you also want to be able to have the actual hard copy receipts with you as well too. Okay. But again, the problem with these apps on the iPhones is that they might start charging you one day if they have a big number of users. So I never had to bother with that myself. For your car, if you drive a car today, when you get home, go and buy yourself a mileage tracking logbook. So at Staples, they sell a lot of pre-made mileage books for your cars. Okay, go and grab one. Right, it's very simple. It's like one column for the date, description, and some columns for your mileage. That's it. All right. And again, question: if you were to buy that mileage book, is that an expense? Yes, right? If you hire an accountant to do your things for you, is that an expense? Right, okay. And the key is this, right? You don't want to pay your accountant to do bookkeeping, right? Because it's a waste of their time and it's a waste of your money. So bookkeeping is simple. You can do that. So when I say track your expenses, I mean do your own bookkeeping. Just keep a nice folio. So go to Staples, buy a nice folio, 12 months, and just keep all your receipts from January, February, March, April, May into each different section, right? And in each receipt, I have that spreadsheet I'm going to show you guys on how to track which category these belong to. Very simple, right? Okay. So again, the 12-month folio from Staples. Again, if you go buy that folio book, it is now also a expense. If you buy pens to track your mileage, it's also a expense, right? Okay. So let me show you guys one very simple example that I've been using for the last 4 or 5 years. And basically every single year, what I do is that I take this spreadsheet, I say, Ron, here's all my expenses for 012, and I just email to him. And all he looks for is basically the totals at the very bottom of that spreadsheet. Okay. So again, to give you an example of what this looks like here, I have it here, business here. So I'm just going to zoom in here really quickly for you guys over here. There we go. So to kind of maximize this and do this. So what you want to do here is this. You can actually download from my website. You can go home today if you want. So the title GWT expenses tracking sheet, and basically I have here the date from when you joined, and usually if you already joined today, then you would say starting from today till the 31st of December, and if you joined as of last year, then for next year it's from the 1st to the 31st, right? Make sense? Okay. And for example, if you have a cell phone, right, that you use for the business, so usually if you have a cell phone and a home phone, and your home phone is for personal use, and your cell phone is 100% for the business use, then 100% of your cell phone can be expense. Make sense? Right? So that's where, for me, every single month, I put the date of when I get billed from Rogers. Vendor is Rogers, description, cell phone bill, and the amount, or the total amount. That's it. Right? And then there's a total. And that's what Rod wants to know, is the total of my cell phone bills, right? I also have internet, right? So internet, for example, from January to December, the date I was billed from Rogers for my internet and the total amount. Pretty simple, guys, right? We all use Excel at one point in time of our lifetime or not, right? Okay, it's very simple here. It's like fill in the blanks, right? Here, car insurance, right? So if you need extra categories, for example, if you have a car lease, you'll have another category for lease for your car as well too, right? But also the gasoline for your car, okay? Any kind of repairs, maintenance for your car, okay? And of course, we have, so this is a very basic spreadsheet to track all of your expenses as well too. Gas and oil, and it does a total for the very end of the year. Now I have another category here for tracking your car vehicles. Now, if you have your your mileage tracking book, right, then you don't really need this because you're already tracking your mileage in that little mileage book. Okay. What I do though is because I don't want to have to count the numbers. Okay, at the end of the year, you want to count up the total mileage driven for your business. So I still use this to keep track of, just to do the at sum function to count the total mileage driven for my car, right? But if you want to do the manual input and count up the total mileage, the manual way, same thing, all right? So, because for the vehicle, it depends, right? If you, for example, drive 20,000 mileage a year on your car, and after tracking your mileage, you found out that a half of your driving was for the business. Then, of course, a half of your car expenses from your car lease, your car insurance, your car gasoline, maintenance repairs, your winter tires, washer fluid, your license plate, your license fees, sticker, all that stuff. Half of all that cannot be expensed towards to lower, as a tax deduction for you. Okay. Now, if you're wondering, what do I mean by tax deduction? Very simple. Okay. If you make, for example, $50,000 a year income, okay, and you track all your expenses after 1 year, and you find out that you had $10,000 of a business expense. Okay, very common. Okay, so what's your total income of the year again? Okay, and how much expenses did you have? Okay, so without the business though, how much would you be paying taxes on? On the 50, right? At whatever percentage you're doing, 30%, for example, right? Okay. Well, now that you have a business and had how much expenses again? 10,000. Your income is now not 50. Your income is now 50 minus the 10, which is how much? 40, right? So now what do you get taxed on? Right. Okay. So if in the event, for example, you have a full-time job and you have this side business already, and you get taxed every single paycheck regardless, right? Every paycheck you get taxed, right? You can't help that. You also have income you make on the business, for example. Well, by the end of the year, when you're December 31st, you've already paid all the taxes on the 50, right? But you shouldn't have because you had how much expenses, right? So by next year tax time, when you do your taxes, you will not get back essentially a refund of the taxes that you pay on the 10,000. Yeah. Well, yeah. So whatever you paid extra, you will not get that back as a refund essentially. Okay. That's a general idea of how this works. Okay. Make sense, everyone? And so, the cool thing is that if you were at a higher tax bracket and you had so much expenses that it lowered you down to a lower tax bracket, you got even more of a refund. Makes sense? Because you got knocked down a level, right? So instead of paying 40%, you're getting taxed at 30%, right? So, be good about how to manage your money essentially, all right? And over here on the third tab, I also put expense list. So I actually copied all the list from the website, and the ones in green here in bold are the most commonly ones you can encounter by having a GWT home-based business. Okay, so that's how you track your expenses. Any questions so far from anyone in the room today? Yeah, question please. Yeah. No, of course.
And I wasn't able to deduct certain things a year before, and I'm to file again. Would I be able to claim that last year that I was able to deduct?
Okay, so the question for people on the call is that if you had a home-based business but you didn't claim some of the things in the past, you forgot to claim. can you claim it now? As long as you already had the home-based business, if you forgot to claim it, you can always file back in arrear for the past. So maybe Ron, yeah.
Simple adjustment.
So Ron says.
How many years can you go back?
So how many years can you go back, Ron?
Oh,
So about 3 or 4 years, yeah.
thank you very
That
much.
question?
Thank you.
Very well.
If the government would, let's say you did not file, or you overfile,
If you overfiled, okay.
overfile,
Okay.
and then meaning that if you did not, you filed too much, the government could go back as many years to recover that, right? But you only can claim that. If you underfile, you only can claim that for 3 years. Well, let's say you said that you burned there was so much expense that you had,
Right.
but you did not, and the government added you, and then 5 years ago they said, well, you did not make that kind of money, but now.
Also, so okay, so the question on the call, just to make sure. So I don't think the question is because when you say overfiled, I thought you meant that you got back too much.
No.
Yeah. So you're meaning if you put the income as more than what it should have been.
Correct.
Okay. So if your income was higher than what you stated.
Yes.
Then again, I think it should be a simple, Ron. Yes, a simple adjustment. You can go back and adjust that with proper documentation. So in taxes, documentation beats conversation. Always have a lot of documentation, paper trails, everything to back that up together. Okay. Yeah, good question though. All right, so to give you a more visual example, because people here are already visual here, is let me show you guys. I actually use this sometimes to show people in my business if they had this business, how much they could get back based upon their kind of rough expenditures. Okay, and again, it's available for download on my website here. Home business tax example. Is everyone enjoying this so far? Yes, informative. Okay, yeah, yeah. You can buy me a coffee now, right?
Actually getting upset.
Okay.
One more
Oh, okay. One more question. Yeah, go ahead. I just.
You mentioned about the personal, like if you have two phones, cell phone use.
Yes.
What about your home phone? You claim half of that just because you use it.
Yeah, so the question is if you have a cell phone and a home phone, how much do you claim of each one? So basically, usually, you have to be very careful what's personal versus what's for the business because you cannot claim personal things. So usually, most people will have a home phone for personal use. So 100% the home phone you do not claim, and the cell phone is 100% for the business use. That's what most people do. However, if you only have a cell phone and no home phone, um, then Ron, what would you say then? Also, home phone non-distance you can claim for business purposes. And so if this cell phone is a mix of personal and business, what would you say then? Right. So Ron said that in some cases he's helped people go back even 10 years in the past for people who have, forgot to claim something, for example. Uh, Yeah, so question coming from the website here. For those who didn't claim their taxes previous years, and let's say their expenses was higher than their income, would that expense count for future taxes? And basically the answer is yes, you can carry forward your expenses into the future if you had not claimed it in the past, right? So basically the question is they didn't claim all their expenses from previous years. Okay, it depends on the nature of the expense. So okay. So in other words, call Ron and ask him. Okay. Yeah, it's case by case. So again, ask Ron. And another question here: with the list of expenses, is the full 100% of that expense is write off or only the tax? Oh no. So okay, the question here is the expense that you have. They're asking, let's say you go for coffee and it's $6, and the taxes you pay on the coffee is like, yes, whatever, like 60 cents, right? Yeah. They're asking, is it the $6 that's lowering your income, or is it the 60 cents? It's the $6. Yeah, the $6. Okay, so it's not the taxes. Yeah, Yeah, it's the whole. It's 50% of the whole amount because it's because it's meals entertainment. If it's other stuff like internet and it's all for business, then the whole thing would be a write-off. Yeah. Okay. All right. So how to track your income? Very simple. My first row I have here is what's your GWT business income? How much did you make that year? That goes over here. And so, for example, what would you say is an average internet bill nowadays? High-speed Rogers. Yeah, that's fair. 60 bucks. Yeah, after taxes, right? 60 bucks a year, right? Okay, so 1 year is how much then? 720, right? Cell phone. This person had a really crazy cell phone bill. I'd say for me it's about 100 because I have unlimited calling, all over Canada and North America. So, sometimes you go over, the girlfriend has problems, wife has issues, whatever, right? So, yeah, question?
Yes. Now, as you know, today they have a lot of this pay as you go.
Yes.
Cell phone. Before they used to have where you can show a phone bill.
Yep.
But now, with this pay as you go now, people just go on topping up their phone. What does that mean?
Again, if the cell phone is 100% used for the business, then every pay as you go load up would count as a deduction. The whole thing, yeah. Whatever you pay to run your business, if it's for the business, then it's 100%. You can tax deductible or write off. Yeah. Question, Fernando.
You were talking about the receipt when you go to the restaurant.
Yes, the receipt. Yeah.
If you by chance lose the original but have a scanned copy of it,
That's fine.
would that be acceptable?
Yes. Really, you always want to have a copy is perfect. So I know someone who's so, I guess, extreme. They actually scan every receipt they get. And I have like a billion receipts, so I can't. I don't want to do that. I'd probably go insane. But they actually scan every copy of the receipt, which is, extreme, right? So again, oh yeah. Again, I think they actually have great programs nowadays too, right? Yeah. So if you guys have these tools, and we can get it for free somehow, or we can share it with each other. Let's do that, right? And
Or you can buy that and use them as an expense as well.
yes, exactly. Yeah. So thank you, Nando, for buying that machine for us.
No problem.
And yeah, I was just kidding. All right. So, but yeah, okay. So the question for people on the call is that is it wise to scan in all your receipts? And they have some new things nowadays. You can actually scan in, or take a photo. Oh, take a photo. There it is. Go on your phone. Take a photo with your phone and just store the photos in your some file on your computer. There you go. Right. So same thing. Okay.
Just one more question.
Yeah. One more question.
Let's in the sense that you actually
Yeah.
because these things which have happened.
Okay, like a water or flood or fire.
Yeah, and the majority of them
Or all your documents are lost.
Can you do what is known as just an idea for this estimation?
Okay, so if you happen to have a fire, loss, or flood, and you lost all of your tracking documents, what would then be happening? And so, number one, start taking photos of all your receipts. But Ron, what would happen then? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but the question would it, based on the fact that you had a previous year, could they not use that as a?
Oh, yeah. So he's asking Ron if you had like a base average for the previous year, could you use that average? For example, yeah. So it's case by case. It depends if the auditor will let you go by that. Because I know that, for example, you know, if you didn't track 1 month mileage 100%, but you tracked half a year, you took an average, that could be the ongoing average for the mileage times 12 for the whole year, right? So, but with that situation, again, case by case depends on, I guess, your. Oh, okay. So they might even disallow that. So again, make sure that you have a very safe keeping of your receipts. I have mine dating back to like '04, literally. And I have them, at my parents' house. Now I'm kind of concerned about the flood or the fire, but I just have it in case, right? So yeah, it's scanning, right? Yeah. Okay. So more questions coming in here. Maybe I'll take these questions at the very end to finish off my example here. So people on the call, just hang tight. I'll come back to your questions. Okay. So Cell phone, $100 a month. So 1 year is how much? 1,200. Okay. If you go on transit, TDC, to go to meetings, let's say you spend $20 a month on TDC tokens. Oh yeah, they don't have any more tickets, right? I haven't taken the TDC for a long time, right? Tokens. Is it tokens now, or is it like the card? Oh, there's both, right? Yeah. Because Taiwan, they have these really cool magnetic chips that you had to get back to the machine. You can't take it with you. So, anyways, but yeah, okay. So $20 a month, 240 a year. Let's say you joined, you started a business, and actually, for our example today, who here is actually a guest, by the way, has no idea about this business that we're doing? Okay, okay, welcome. So, okay, okay, great, okay. So, in our company, you can have yourself a business for a yearly fee of $199. Okay, and I won't go into what that gives you because I'll do that a bit later on after this. No, we have a second part today if you want to stick around to learn more about what we have as an amazing business opportunity to allow you to have this home-based business, to allow you to have tax deductions, okay? But our lowest one is $199 a year, okay? So there's no renewal costs, annual cost renewals because it's the first year, so there's no annual renewal cost here. Because below I have year 2 and year 1 as an example, but this is year 1 here. The monthly cost, for example, let's say to maintain your business on a monthly basis, you pay $35 a month to have this business, okay, to have inventory for your business, okay. A car, did you drive a car? So over here, let's just say, we did track the car separately over here, okay. So let's just say for your car, I'm going to make this more pretty here, that you had insurance for the car. And I think average insurance is about $200 a month, right? Average. So 1 year, depends if you guys a ticket or not, right? So $2,400 a year. Gas on average is constantly going up in prices nowadays, right? Inflation, right? So 200 there. If you have a lease on your car, let's just say that you have a lease of, you're driving a decent car, $400 a month. So that's 4,800 a year. Maintenance, which includes oil changes, repairs, washing fluids, your license plates, renewing your license as well too, all that stuff. Okay, 1,000 say a year. Your total so far is $10,600 you spent on having a car, right? So you enjoy driving, right? Okay, but again, you're just gonna walk. Yeah. So again, you have that mileage book. So you figured out how much of your driving was for the business versus personal, right? And I asked Ron this one question one day. I said, so Ron, if I'm buying groceries from the supermarket, but on the way to buy groceries, I'm also going to my office. And the grocery store happens to be exactly on the same street going towards my office. I stop there, buy groceries, and go to the office, and then come back, right? Then that's really business, right? Because it's on the way, but you're actually going to the business. You just stopped off to get groceries on the way, right? Okay, so again, $10,600 of a total car expense. So let's say that half of that was for the business, right? So half of 10,600 is how much? Yeah, so car expense. So this. So car this. So sorry, equals. And then this is half. There, 5,300, right? Okay. Meals, entertainment. How much do you guys think you guys eat out on a weekly basis? A lot. Do you guys go fancy too? Cajun chicken or Mr. Greek roast lamb, right? Okay, yeah. So, I would say that let's go conservative. 200 a week is good on food, right? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Okay. So times 4 weeks in a month is $800 a month. Okay. So $800, right? Okay. But again, this times 12 months is 9,600, but only half can be expense, right? So this times 12 is 9,600, which half is 4,800. Make sense so far, guys? Okay. Again, entertainment, right? If you took out, for example, if I took out David and, for example, Errol, to go watch the Raptors game as an incentive for their hard work, right? That now also becomes a entertainment expense, right? If you bring your kids to Disneyland, that does not count because you don't do business with your kids, all right? So you gotta be very clear here. Okay. Training events. Okay. So if you go to a training event, also here too, and others, stationary computers, right? So I bought this laptop, $3,000. Doesn't have a DVD player. I don't know why, but again, it's for the business, right? A mouse, batteries, paper, pencils, anything related to the business. You want to try that together, right? And I should put here to be very careful, business travel, right? I'm going to Taiwan next January. My whole flight will be a write-off because I'm going there for the business. Okay. When I go from Taiwan to Thailand, I'll be doing business in Thailand as well too. That also counts as well. Okay, make sense, guys? Right? So, who here travels once a year? Do you have people that you know in those places? Right? And do you plan to do a meeting in the future for the business? Great. Okay. So again, there's so much more things here. For example, like home expenses, right? If more than half of your house is used for the business, or a certain room is a daily use for the business, then a portion of your interest on the mortgage, the utilities, can also be expensed too. But I can't put all that in here as well. So it's like a rough idea we have here. So in other words, your expenses are how much for the whole year here? 13,844, right? So let's say here that your income was $50,000 that I just said before, okay? You had no investment income or other kind of incomes, whatever it is, and your business loss is 13,844, okay? This is assuming that you didn't make any money in the business, right? But if you made money in the business, then you would, the income comes over here. That's still your loss, though. Okay, that's your expenses here. So in other words, without a home-based business, your income looks like $50,000. Okay, with the home-based business, your income now looks like $36,000, right? But again, because you already got taxed on every single paycheck you got from the government, right, in your full-time job, then by next year tax time, you now tell Ron, I have $13,844 of expenses for last year. What happens then? You get back a refund essentially, right? Yeah, a tax refund of your tax bracket at that level. Okay, so if your level is roughly, let's say, a third, like 30%, whatever it is, then your tax return, you now got back how much? $5,144. So again, question, right? Is it easy to get a raise in your job this year of $5,000? And if you do, how much do you bring home with you? Not 5,000. Yeah, probably less than half that. Yeah, about half, right? So is it making sense here, guys?
Of course.
Yeah. Are you seeing ways now to save money and to make money? Right? And by the way, if I get really passionate, start talking about why you need a business, oh boy, it's gonna be over. But so again, this spreadsheet here is available for download, and a lot of times I even draw this out on a piece of paper sometimes with my guests that I'm showing the business to, if I don't have this with me on hand, and that's what we have here. Okay, and so really, my question to you is this. Okay, you have two options here, right? Option one is, okay, you don't have this business, so you did not pay $199 for this business. Okay, what does that mean then? You work 40 hours a week if you're lucky for the next 50 years, right? If you want to do that, okay. You keep paying taxes to the government, right? And your life just same thing, day in, day out, day in, day out. Life doesn't get any more exciting, right? That's option one, okay? Then and then when you retire, you don't have enough money, you go work at Walmart, right? It's not too much of a good scenario, okay? Option B is what? Option B is you drop 199 to have a home-based business, and you get back how much over there?
5,000.
5,000, over $5,000 tax return. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's so much stuff missing here. I mean, like, yeah, exactly, right? So it comes down to this, right? Is, you know, honestly, in your full-time job, it's so much harder for the extra hours of overtime to make this kind of money of $5,000 in your job, right? So, to me, it's like it's literally a no-brainer to have yourself a home-based business. Because what might happen if you choose a very strong home-based business? What might happen? You might actually make some money, right? And if you choose a home-based business that has passive income, an opportunity, what might happen? 10K a month, 20K a month, 30K a month, right? So can you imagine making, doing this part-time to get back this from the government, right? But to now start making a good passive income of $3,000 a month. If all you made after 1 year was an additional 1,000 a month, that's still good.
Yeah.
That's money. You have to work for it, right? So, I mean, to me, if you really understand this, we have app forms today. You can join a retailer. Without even knowing the business itself, we're actually going to cover the business in our second segment if you want to stick around for that. But even without knowing about it, it still makes sense to do the 199. Does it make sense, guys? Right? Okay, yeah. Okay, so what else do you need? A sole proprietorship. Okay, you are not doing a partnership. You're not doing a corporation because taxes work differently, and all that we talked about doesn't apply to those scenarios. You want to have yourself a sole proprietorship. Okay, and so if you want to have one, for example, we have these things here. It looks like this. Okay, this is the older one. Yeah. Okay, but anyways, in our company here, you basically have your name, your information, your mailing address, right? Your SIN number. You'll get like a T4A during tax time from our company. Okay, $199 for the package. Credit card, and you're done. Okay, you get your own website. You get a fully functional website, shopping cart. You can sell all this amazing bling here as well too. But that's what you can do. Okay, so you want to have yourself a sole proprietorship, and maybe Ariel, you can pass that around as I'm sort of talking here, just to the guests here as we go along. Okay. Again, do not want to put your company name on there until you start making a whole lot of money. Okay. Because for now, you want to be able to write off your expenses against your personal income. Okay.
So if you are registered as a certain name and you're still working.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you put down a company name, it means you have a corporation, which means that the expenses you incur can only be written off against the income in the corporation.
But isn't it that the company name you can also be a sole proprietorship?
Ron, okay, yeah. So the answer is yes. So company name can be.
Your income from your
Okay, yes. So the question is, can a sole proprietorship also have its own company name? And the answer is yes from Ron. Okay, I didn't know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the same. Okay, so you're saying now, as you know, most home-based business, it's your name.
Yes.
But you're saying, can you?
You can register a business name without a corporation ID number. Is what I'm saying. Is what you're saying, right? Yeah. So because when you open a business, there's two steps. One is get a corporation number, like a business number, and one is the business name, right, Ron? Yeah. So I think it's called the BNS, the business name search, right? BNS. Yeah, I don't think you want. Yeah. So, anyways, the answer is I guess yes, you can have a business name that's still a sole proprietorship, and again, talk to Rod for that as well.
But at what time, like for you now, because you're running at a very high.
Yeah.
Maybe but let's say at what time does someone say they want to make it where that business is willing in that area, that home-based business? At what time would you say would be a good time to set up yourself that your business can be the home-based business can be?
Oh, you know what? I mean, the home-based business is already willable in terms of the contract that you sign here. So your business here, if you're making 10K a month, the second you go, it gets passed down to your spouse. It's already arranged. But again, separate to this discussion today is you want to make sure you have your will done. if you don't have your will done even today, like all of you, like not just like the more older senior guys, but even David should have his will done today, because if you have any kind of assets or belongings to yourself, if you don't have a proper will, a power of attorney, which is someone to represent you when that happens, and ex- executor to execute the will on your behalf, if you don't have that already prepared for you, the government will then have to bring in their own resources to do it for you, and it costs you an arm and a leg as well too. Yeah, exactly, right? So, and they get more money from you that way as well. So again, I also do have my own resources for a very good person that does really good wills. And the thing is, I mean, I have some people, like I had one guy who's like 67 years old, a lawyer, and he could do my will for me. But I was worried that if he passes away, then who's the next guy, right? So you want to find a company that has long enough reputation to take care of you as well too. So I already have that done. So if you want to get my contact later on for that person as well, just contact me later on as well. So, but make sure that you guys should all have that done right now, because if you have a house and a mortgage, if you have a car, if you have insurance, all that stuff, you have money in the bank, be very, very clear where all that stuff goes to. All right. Any question? Yeah, question?
If you're employed and have a business, when do you normally file? The deadline for your filing during the
Okay.
April or during the
So the
June?
question is, when do you basically have to file your taxes? So basically, you have to do the last. Is it May 31st? Okay, so you have to pay your taxes by April the 30th. So you should know roughly how much you're owing taxes from your home-based business income, paid because you're paid tax-free, like without any tax taken off. So you and your account can figure out how much you should be paying in income through what you earn in the company, and pay that before April the 30th, and then by June the 15th is when your filing has to be complete. And you can do amendments afterwards, right? Like, because yeah, because for example, mine I paid before April the 30th, was done by June the 15th of filing, but we just finished doing my final returns like last week, right? So it took, because I have, if you ask Ron about my portfolio, like he has a big headache looking at my stuff as well. Yeah, like yeah, like he knows my whole one, like from everything I've had in the last like 8 years. Like he it's a mess because I do so much things in all over the world. So but so you can do that later on in the months. But the main thing is that the payment has to be done on April 30th, and the filing is done by June. Yeah. Okay. So you gotta have a sole proprietorship, which we just gave you. Again, if you want to understand more about sole proprietorships, you click on this link over here, and there you go. Talks more about sole proprietorships or partnerships as well too. Okay. Here, the T2125, you also want to make sure that you and your accountant fill this out, right? Which is a statement of business activities. Okay. So again, that's over here. Okay, getting the T2125 form. All right. And of course, the totals from your expenses. Again, every year I just give all my spreadsheets I just showed you guys. I just email it to Ron. That's all I do. And all my other T4 slips, whatever it is. And honestly, I could do my own taxes. Is it worth it? Oh my God. Like, if you had a job, it's okay. But if you're getting into business kind of stuff, trust me. Like, I pay him maybe like, $500, whatever it is. But if you're getting back, so much more. Yeah, yeah. And the fees you pay for him is also a write-off as well too, right? Trust me, right? Have someone who's you know meticulous about every little detail in your taxes. Let him do it for you, because it's not worth your headache, right? Let the pros do it as well. Suggesting a certified accountant, of course. And so that's pretty much the information on today on the tax information now. So we have a few last questions here to quickly cover here. Two questions. Haircuts, shoes, makeup, nails, etc. Are they deductible? And I think the answer is no, right, Ron? Yeah, I mean, haircuts, absolutely not. That's a hygiene issue, not a business issue. Shoes, unless your shoes have like a company logo on it, like GWT on your shoes, then any kind of suit stuff, unless it has a logo on it of the company, then it's not going to be a write-off.
So you're saying that clothing is not a part of the deduction?
It is. It's just a logo on it. Yeah. So at the convention, I bought the forensic T-shirt and the golf shirt. Yeah, that's for the business, right? Because you're promoting your business on your clothes, right? But if I have a $3,000 Gucci suit, I kind of feel bad putting GWT on it. So then it would not be right. If
you're a designer business though. Wouldn't that be part of your
only
when once we even when we sell, we're not going to have necessarily visible.
only because the government can't tell if you're actually using it for the business.
But you're dressed to go to the business.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but some people might dress to go to a club.
So there's a no.
I mean, if you were to, if you're a model, or how's it run? If you're doing a home party, and you're taking photos of the display table with your nails for that one particular instance, maybe. But yeah, it has to be for business, right? So if you have photos and proof, documentation of you're doing this for the business, then yes, yeah. So your tie, your ties, unfortunately, But again, once fairy ties come out,
can we not open up a modeling business and write that off then?
Yes, but then it'll cost you more money. Yeah, I mean, just around that, right? Yeah. So okay, next question here. What about plane tickets? Should we know more about before we travel? Okay, so again, for plane tickets, again, if you have, the surveys in our company are perfect tracking of you doing tours and business overseas. Have the surveys filled out. Again, be very detailed. Again, plane tickets can be, again, expense as long as you're there for the business. Renee, can you touch base on the monthly IA and when you can actually buy the product using the IA? Can you use those products as inventory unsold? Okay. Now the IA is a very, very tricky one because my suggestion, and Ron's as well too, is you don't write off the monthly IA right away because it's a fine line because according to Sandy Botkins, he says that any monthly subscription fees or fees that are required to make money in the business can be deducted. However, it's different because what your monthly IA is in our company is actually going towards buying an actual physical product that actually retains value over time. It's like silver and gold, right? So it's not as simple as you buying a monthly membership to some sort of a club, right? So yeah. There is a way that I can tell you to do it because you can do it, but you just risk the chance of being red flagged and getting audited, which some people did and that I know of. The better way of doing it is when you finally buy a piece. For example, if I bought $200 of my IA, my inventory, and I use it as a promo item to promote my business, and I gave this ring as a promo item to David. Okay, right? Then of course, then it would be it's me promoting my business. I gave it to David. He's he might be this superstar hotshot guy. I wanted to promote the business. I gave it to him to promote my business. Then you would actually deduct it then. Okay.
But what if you just wear?
Oh, Ron, sorry, we have some more questions here. Sorry to interrupt you guys. This is where we talked about the IA before, right? To buy product, right? So he's saying, if you buy it strictly for display use, inventory, totally fine, right? If you wear it on you, what then, Ron? Like, if I wear this stuff, because the problem is that the government can't know when you wear this to the club, and but they don't know if you're going to the club for the business or not, right? So I think if you wanted to avoid that hassle, when you promo it, then just again. The key is don't do it on a monthly basis. Don't write off your monthly payments. Write off when you buy something and you use it for a particular cause that you can then back it up with. Right, Ron? Yeah. Right. So don't just by default claim the monthly. If you have 2,000 in your IA and you haven't actually bought stuff with your IA yet, the IA is basically your inventory towards buying these products here. If you haven't bought something yet, do not write it off because you haven't bought stuff with it, right? Once you bought it, and you can prove that you are using for the business for inventory, promo items, or something like that, then you can. Okay. So, and the last question here before Ron takes off here. Again, okay, actually, the last question is actually related to my last question here. So again, so really quickly here, I want to actually just really quickly give a chance for people here tonight to again just to meet Ron as well. And again, thank you, Ron, for taking the time for coming down from Aurora. Okay, yeah. So again, I'll make sure that you go. Actually, Ron, do you have your business cards with you? Can you just pass one around to everyone really quickly? So maybe Ariel, do you mind grabbing his cards and maybe just passing around, or yeah, to everyone here? And so right now, what we'll do is we're going to take for the tax training itself tonight. That part is now concluded. If you want to know more information about this incredible business that we have here and how to actually make money, make passive income.
So would Ron, we do not make $1 million as ready, but would you if individual need to talk to you about our taxes, would you be willing to do that? Okay.
Yeah, so Ron is here. I did ask Ron. Ron, are you capable of handling 20 more people or 100 more people? He said, his company is actually very, very structured in a very good way to handle more people. So again, on a personal note, as a quick testimonial, I've gone through accountants where I paid, 3 times the amount I paid Ron for work that was done horribly. And when I met Ron, just to be clear here, I know you guys using Ron for your services there's no cutbacks for me. In fact, Ron is not even part of this business here because I don't want to have any relation of my accountant mixed up with what we do here. So he's completely separated and isolated from GWT. I actually did it for a reason, because he looks at a lot of my own personal stuff, and I like a guy who's very, very careful, doesn't miss a thing, and when you have questions, he takes the time to explain to you exactly what you're looking at, and he actually looks at your whole entire situation here, right? So that's my own personal information for you guys. So again, we'll take a quick 5-minute break here. Maybe can ask Ron some questions here, and we'll reconvene back to show you guys if you want more of the amazing GWT business here. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Okay. And thank you for the people on the call tonight, guys. The call is now done. If you want to stick around and hear me doing the live presentation, you can feel free to. But aside from that, the call is now done.